Hello, this is Granny Small Animal Farm. As you can tell, maybe you can or can't, I gave her a little close halter path that looks pretty good. And got around some of her ears and her nose and her feet. Got the long hairs on her pastern area back here. Trimmed her tail up and brushed it out. It looks nice. It looked pretty good for just an old small farm animal. Did her feet. Okay. You did good, Shirley. You look better. Of course, she needs her long hair for the winter, so nothing's going to happen to that. As I talked about before, I have her tied up with this up pretty much. You don't want to tie a horse up, any horse, small or put on my hands-free device again. I got to use my hands to undo her deal up here. Okay. You don't want it hanging down here. See, it's loopy. She could get her head underneath there and wrap around her head, and then she'd pull back, and a lot of horses would act crazy when they do that. Rear up and stuff. I trimmed a little off her mane. Now, when you lead a horse, you want to lead a horse to the side because you don't want them to run over you. You want to have you want to have the rope in your left hand and the horse and the short rope here in your right hand. You got this in case she pulls away here. But you don't want to go in front. You got to teach them to lead to the side. Because you want to be safe around horses. And around a strange horse, you don't want to go to the back to pet them. Have someone hold them, and then you can pet their side. A horse you get to know, you can get behind them a little more and brush them. But she's easy because she's such a little thing. She doesn't offer a whole lot of threat to anybody. She's a miniature horse. But her feet look better. You look nicer. Got your winter haircut. I don't need to worry with old Laverne over there. Her hair stays nice. We'll go look at her in a minute. Okay, Shirley, come on. Come on. I don't lead her a whole lot because she's spoilt. I just come out here and feed them, pet on them. You know, she doesn't have to do a whole lot. She knows enough to get by. Anyway, we'll look at Laverne. But that's the finished product on the cutting and trimming of their tail and their feet, and the halter path with just using scissors. Oh, and by the way, do start off with a sharp pair of scissors. Okay, Laverne, I'm not going to worry. She looks good. Most of the time, you can see her little legs. She doesn't have that long hair growing on her legs. I just take it off because it gets dirt in there, and if there's ice on the ground, it freezes to their hooves. So that's why with horses I keep the hair on the hooves and around the hooves, I keep that all nice and trimmed off. Of course, Laverne, she's got that long stripe. Her tail, it stays this long, and that's it. I don't have to worry about that. Her mane doesn't get any longer. It stays like that. Her hair gets longer, but that's for the winter. And then the summer, she'll slick off. But sometimes she puts her head through the fence here and wears that thin because she's eating grass on the other side of the fence. Do you want me to tell you about this cross on her back? I told you I would one day, so we'll do it today. All donkeys, and she's a miniature donkey, all donkeys have this cross on their back. And when Jesus, this was Palm Sunday, he was going into Jerusalem. I'm pretty sure that's the right city. He was going and he asked to ride a donkey because he wanted to come in like a humble person. He could have asked for a big, pretty white stallion to ride, but he wanted to choose the humble donkey. So they laid palms down and he rode the little donkey in on Palm Sunday. That was the day before he was crucified. And he was brought in front of the king and people that wanted to crucify Jesus, because he said he was the Son of God, and they did not believe that. So Jesus had to carry a big old cross to go up to the Mount of Olives, and they were going to crucify him up there. That's the way they did with prisoners back in those days. They hung them on a cross and let them. That's how they would die. That's how they tortured them or crucified them. Instead of going to electric chair, they would put them up on a cross. And Jesus had to carry his own cross. So the donkey felt so sorry for Jesus. He wanted to carry his cross, just like he carried him in on Palm Sunday. He wanted to do that, but he couldn't. He couldn't carry the cross. Jesus had to. So then he went up on the mountain with 2 other prisoners, and they were being crucified as well. But Jesus, they put him on the cross, and he was to die there. And of course, if you know the story, he rises again, like he promised he would come back. But anyway, this donkey couldn't bear to see Jesus being crucified on the cross. He couldn't bear to see him in so much pain. So he turned his back to the cross and didn't want to look. And the sun was shining, and it made a big cross on the donkey's back. And that's the legend of the cross. From this day on, the donkeys always had this cross on their back as a remembrance that the most humblest animal of all was Jesus's donkey. And that was a mark of the crucifying Jesus. This story is, you can Google the story, The Legend of the Cross, on Google, of course, and read about it. But that's pretty much how it goes. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you enjoyed seeing my little animals today. My little miniature horse that got her hair cut and looking a little better, and then my pretty Laverne donkey. Okay, we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.